Well, the Rusnano, that's the Russian-based company, which is actually the family of private equity funds and venture funds. We are backed by the government and financed by the government for some $10 billion. And now we're raising new funds with the Rusnano participation and participation of another limited partners from all over the world, not only in Russia. We invested in Russia and we invested abroad as well. Part of our investment made in the United States and Silicon Valley. And the technological point of our investment, that's material-based high-tech. And big proportion of what we invest in, that's the technology which based on the idea of the curbing the global CO2 emission.
Okay. Is there something that you want to say to the negotiators about your technology?
I believe yes, and not only about technology. The idea we're working on it look like this. The traditional approach for the CO2 emission based on energy. What I was speaking about, we speak about the fossil fuel energy, about the alternative energy, about the increasing the energy efficiency, which is good. That's normal. But at the same time, we believe that we need something more. We need something else. And the idea to add to this approach kind of new angle, which is materials. Imagine just for a second that we are able to produce materials which will be much stronger than the existing one, which will have life cycle much more than the existing one. That's something which will diminish manufacturing, diminish transportation. If you will analyze the whole technological chain, you will understand that the role of materials may be very important. We made a special study just to trying to get the answer in numbers. What is the role of materials if we take the whole technological chain in the contribution to the global CO2 emission? The number of find is 28%. That's very important. And in this case, we would like to offer some new technologies which can make materials stronger. Just one of the examples, that's the so-called nano-enabled materials. We developed technology for industrial scale manufacturing of the single-wall carbon nanotubes. It's very well known that carbon nanotubes, in case you're able to add them, let's say, in aluminium, less than 1% additive, it will increase the strength of aluminium and make it like titanium. And the idea that this universal additive may be added for the basic materials like plastics, metals, cement, which is actually basic materials used all over the world. And if we will be able to do it, it means that we will need much less metal, much less plastic, much less cement, and the whole technological chain will save enormous amount of the CO2 emission. And what is especially important, we try to compare the alternative energy approach and the what we call clean materials approach. And we see that the final contribution of the clean materials may be even bigger than the contribution of the alternative energy. And what's even more important, that in alternative energy you need subsidies everywhere. In France, in Russia, we are subsidizing now alternative energy. But if I speak about nano-enabled materials, there's no need for subsidies. They are economically viable. So that's why we would like to offer this intellectual property, which is developed in Russia, this manufacturing technology, and to find partners all over the world to help this technology to go to the market.
Yeah, because one of the biggest challenges of this COP21 is to help the developing country, for example, countries of Africa, South America, to develop themselves, but following a low carbon development. Do you think that your technology can help them this way? Is it economically speaking viable for them?
Well, the technology I'm speaking about is something which is applicable in developed countries and in developing countries as well. Sometimes developing countries have even an advantage because they don't need the old technology. They can start from the next stage. But at the same time, if you have any type of industry which based on the metal, cement and plastic, which is everywhere, you may apply it in Russia, in United States or in Africa, in any countries.
Would you say that the governments we are negotiating right now underestimate the material approach that you are supporting?
Well, actually, I can say yes, because just a few days ago there was the Russian President Putin visit here in Paris. He made a short speech, but in this speech here in Paris, President Putin announced this technology for manufacturing carbon nanotubes, and he tried to concentrate the attention on the leaders in the business, in science, in climate changes, in this new technology. That is what very important for us, and that's why I would try to explain here in details what I was speaking about.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.